Hello, this is Isaac from Turn Sounds. Don't leave onions in the sock drawer.
Welcome to Just Keep Walking. This is a podcast focused on the Walking Dead TV show, and today we're going to be talking about both episodes 11, 18 and season 11 episode 17. Okay, I did those in the wrong order, but you've got the right idea. So the first two premiere episodes of the last section of episodes. That sound about right?
Happy up.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm your host, Ben, joined today by...
Isaac, hello.
Hi.
And Liam. How are we all doing?
And yeah, good to be back. Definitely, it feels like it's been probably longer than it has been. I don't know. It feels like it's been ages, but
Welcome back, everyone.
yeah, nice to be back for sure. We're gonna try and probably keep things a bit briefer than we have in the past, so we won't necessarily go through scene by scene everything that happens, but give more of a helicopter view of the whole episode.
Just
just
the
our
helicopters,
thoughts.
man.
Oh, okay.
Ugh.
And we'll go from there. So, who would like to kick us off with overall thoughts on... We'll start with just the first episode and then we'll move on to the second one. So, as far as spoilers go, if you've only seen the first episode, we'll let you know before we move on to the second one. So,
Spoilers are out.
there you go.
Let's let Ben go first.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
sound of that.
So... This will change a bit for episode 18, thankfully, but 17, it just felt very flat for me. And yeah, honestly, I've a couple of times throughout this break, I've made an attempt to go back and rewatch season 11 up until this point, but I just really struggled. I just haven't enjoyed it a lot. So it's still my favorite show, Walking Dead. Still love the series, but I almost in my head call it the end of season 10, like the end of the show, because I just haven't really been loving season 11, with the exception of, certain parts of it, the cinematography and some stuff. There's a lots to enjoy, and I still enjoy watching it, but it just doesn't feel like the same show. Just isn't great. But there were some things that we'll come to in episode 18 that I quite like. So that was kind of a bit of a meh overall. That's probably my thoughts. Yeah. Who else?
I think I say this every single time we come back. Like, the show could be trash, and I'd still be happy to be sitting with you guys,
Yeah,
like, watching
absolutely.
it, and talking about it. It's just, I like the fellowship a lot. Even just talking about a show, it's fun to break down a show
Definitely.
and all of that. So yeah, these first two, well, the first episode, yeah, similar. So many just random and so extra. This whole like season and later parts. You're probably right. After season 10, everything is just like, hey, what's the next crazy thing we can do? And yeah, I've got definitely some notes as far as that's concerned, but enjoy it, sure. There's a ton of missed marks, but there's also some props that I want to give, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Always a mixed bag. How about you, Liam?
I like that. Ditto. Yeah, the first episode, honestly, to me, it felt like a bit of a soap opera.
How so?
Like, just not relating to zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think you probably hit the nail on the head when you said it feels like a different show. It's not the same anymore, or something to that extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel the same. Like the second episode, I enjoyed it a lot more, but the first episode, yeah, it definitely fell flat.
Okay.
But I also want to echo your sentiments. I actually really enjoy just watching it with you guys, and I actually get a lot out of it. So
Yeah.
for all you loyal fans that are listening to us, I am not the brains of this operation when it comes to cinematography, all that jazz. So I actually do learn a lot from doing this podcast with you fellas.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
And you get to bring a perspective of like, was it enjoyable? Who cares about like what the camera was doing? Like,
That's it, yeah.
it doesn't matter if it's not enjoyable to watch. So yeah, no, it's good not to be bogged down by those things sometimes. So let's go through some positives then for episode 17. Do you want to start us off, Isaac?
So a new intro they have.
Yeah.
Not right away, so it followed an opening scene, which I can talk about as well. But yeah, new intro. So Bear McCreary still, I take it?
Yeah. And
Sam.
Ewing, yeah. So it's credited as both of them as
Cool.
co-composers.
Yeah, so an extended one with like an extra now like boom, like
Yeah.
really spelling out like doom, I feel is like, yeah, anything which like low and like repetitive, it's like, uh-oh, here it comes.
Very ominous.
Yeah, ominous. Yeah, and then I have a note as well. You know, the actual Walking Dead title
Yep.
has like trickles of blood down the lettering and stuff.
That looks cool.
Like it's just I don't even know if they meant to do it or not, but like you can pull meaning from whatever. It trickles down and it's bright red, which is like human blood, and then dark red follows it as well. So it's kind of like yeah,
I didn't pick up on that.
yeah, rotten walker blood.
Yeah.
I don't know if it changed in the second episode, but
I was going to say that.
in the first one, I thought it was just one
On the W,
bit of
right?
red in the middle. Yeah,
On the D.
yeah.
Yeah, and then it seemed to be on the D and the E.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't
I
notice it
thought
in the
so,
second
yeah.
one.
How many episodes are there going to be? Do we know?
Eight, including what we watched tonight.
Walking Dead. No, okay. Because what if every single thing there's a new letter until they're all.
I actually kind of hope they do something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be cool. The only other thing I could take from it is if it was just that one hole in the middle, which I'm pretty sure it was in the first episode, was you could see it like Rick's shirt where he got shot right at the very start of the show. I don't know. Probably not. Something. Yeah, I mean, like, I really, obviously, I still love the music, but the opening, I've heard better remixes of the main theme. I feel like it could have been done a bit better, maybe, but it was all right. It wasn't too bad.
But nice opening shot with Daryl and Maggie, one of those famous oneers, I think, where
I didn't notice.
I think those are the best ones where you don't notice.
Yeah,
it just
definitely.
feels like it flows, and they're just clearing out and they're waiting on Jim Carrey and the crew to come and get them. So, nice shot. Followed by a strange blurred vertical line shot. You'd probably tell me what that was, Ben. Particular lens.
Oh, tilt shift lens. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Well, I thought it looks cool in this case. Yeah.
Too extreme. If they had make it so that it, I guess, bleeds wider. If that's a term or whatever. It felt very, here's a tiny column that's in focus and the rest is straight away.
That's fair enough.
feather it, that's the term. Feather it a little. Yeah.
It is one of those things where if it's used a lot in the show and it's just part of the language, then you wouldn't question it. But because it's so different to every other shot we're used to, then, it really grabs your attention probably in the wrong way. But, worth bringing up. Positives. Awesome.
Okay, the walkers walking up the hill.
That's right. The big swarm of walkers. It looked good from a VFX standpoint because we've in the past some of the crowd simulations we've said like, oh, that's pretty obvious, but this until you looked really closely towards the end of the shot, it was like, oh, I would believe those are all extras because it looks pretty legit with the sunlight, the shadows, and everything. Looks nice.
If you like, I can read out all of my positives. It's like it'll jump all around the episode.
Yeah, let's do that. You're much better at taking notes than the rest of us. So
I feel like it's become my job. I don't know how. All right, then.
You are the glue that holds us together.
Maybe I won't, and we'll just sit around and go. Okay, so you've got another Daryl and Maggie thing. The short conversation they have where she says sorry, and then he's like, look, you don't ever have to say sorry to me. Like, Glenn would have wanted me to look after you and all of that. So anytime I see Daryl talking to her and you don't see him like ashamed, we remember what happened. But it's, I think, a nice way to throw back to it in a way that makes you not fond of it, but like, well, I don't know, you've grown from it. Gives you closure, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's true. I agree.
Yeah.
No further comment.
Come on, guys.
Well, I got to say, like, it's done well given that Negan's still in the picture and he's now no longer the villain. Is they'd have to make sure they word that very carefully from a writing standpoint because you could easily go straight back to what happened and be like, oh, yeah, Negan's the worst. So, kudos to the writers for that. That's good.
Yeah, they don't just keep going back to it. Yeah.
Quick thought on that one, and I know this is like a little bit like open discussion thing. Do we reckon Negan should have changed his name when he became no longer Negan? I wonder if over the time he comes back, like now he's got a wife and thing, I'm no longer Negan anymore. I'm
Noggin.
Yeah, noggin, because that's what I hit Glenn on. Yeah.
I reckon it's like he's thought about it. It's like, all right, I'm a new person. I'm now called James or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, yep, this is me. Next time I see someone, I'm going to introduce myself as James. And then 2 episodes later, 3 weeks later, he bumps into someone. Hi, I'm Negan. Oh, damn it. I've done that before. It's like, oh, okay, there's this new group of people. I'm going to be Benji now. Hi, I'm Ben. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool shot of a skull on the ground,
Yeah,
a
that was
decomposing
cool.
one. I figure, like, with the new digital shooting that they're doing on this, it really opens up to some cool
Yeah.
in and out focus shots of, like, slightly tilted. And I'm happy to see them do things like that. I see that and I go, oh, yeah, we're in a zombie movie again. There's dead things around the place, you know? So
And the thing about that especially was that it was clearly a real prop that a lot of effort had been put into making it look nice and like it had been there for ages. And when you mix real things in, because there's a lot of CG, but yeah, that really helps just to sell it. Actually, speaking of which, because I watched the episode before this one earlier today and had that gun shootout, which I might come back to later, but there's some shoddy CGI in that a little bit, but I thought the shootout in this episode looked quite a lot better actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I wonder if they've saved some of the budget for like this last chunk of episodes because they knew this was the priority, something along those lines.
Maybe. Yeah.
Just to take the pressure off Isaac as well, something else to talk about is the very opening of both these episodes, which is Judith's voiceover with flashbacks to the show so far, which I would say is probably fairly obviously leading into... my guess is it's going to be how the show's actually going to end. Right at the end, it'll be Judith telling the story or it'll tie in somehow. But it seems like that's going to be at the start of each of these last 8 episodes. So...
You remember we've already had that, though, as far as, like, her talking about the good man and everything, you know?
Yeah,
in regards to Rick
yeah.
and the brave man, that's what he is.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So she's kind of
Bits
already
of
got
it,
that
yeah.
storyteller thing.
That's true.
I'm on the fence about it, to be honest.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Because it kind of feels like a slap in the face to Carl a little bit. And I know some people might disagree, but in the comics, Carl is the one who has that sort of role, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't read it. But at the end of it, he's sort of telling the story, and he's the one who had the baton passed on to him. Like, and it's a really nice transition of, you know, he was there when the world all went pear-shaped. I'm also not speaking properly into this.
No, keep it.
Sounds
Yeah,
alright.
yeah. No, yeah, bring it a little bit closer to you, but otherwise you're good.
Yeah, so like Carl experienced the world before it all went pear-shaped, survived through the apocalypse, and was there for the beginning of what's after. Whereas Judith was born into it. Like that's all well and good, but doesn't carry the same weight.
Yeah. That's fair. I guess another just observation of it is they've been promoting these last episodes. They've been saying, knowing that a lot of people have stopped watching the show by this point, so they've been advertising it saying, if you watch any part of their journey, experience the end of the story, the last 8 episodes. And so I feel like this is just another way to if you just come in for these ones and you haven't watched the last season or 2 or 3, then at least it feels like, oh yeah, I remember that. I know what that is. And you feel like there's enough that you can know what it is and follow
Within
what's
20
happening.
No chance, because within 20 minutes, those people who stopped watching it were like, what is this? And turned it straight off.
Actually, that... I'm going to save it till we talk about the next episode because I can't remember which episode it's in. We'll come back.
Oh, yeah. But that's it as far as, like, good notes.
Okay.
I mean, I'll just smash through these because I think this is a...
Yeah, I'll probably say as a disclaimer, like, I feel like at this point, it's almost not as fun to nitpick because there's just like every other scene, there's like 5 nitpicks and things you can complain about. So for me, it's almost losing its fun a little bit, but it is still fun.
Well, these for me, I feel like they are earned. You know, it's not just like, he didn't do up his shoulder button or something. You know, like
right, yeah,
it was,
yeah.
So with that, but okay, so this one's maybe it's my sound system, maybe it's whatever. I felt like there was so much mumbling in this episode.
Yeah.
Like overall, like so much. Don't forget to drink your cup of tea, you know? Don't forget to drink your cup of tea. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you felt it, then it was real. So.
This is, I don't know. Maybe let's just, for the sake of playing it safe, we'll put it down to the streaming, because the second episode we watched was much better quality, which was through Prime Video AMC Plus instead of Foxtel, and it looked a lot better as well, because Foxtel looks garbage and is garbage, and even though you pay $30 a month or whatever, they still make you watch ads.
Ben's not mad.
Just disappointed.
But yeah, I mean, it could be to do with the way they're recording the sound on set as well, because season 9, episode 2, if you watch that and compare it to like every other episode, there's some exterior scenes that are really weirdly, like it sounds like they've just done lapels on all the actors.
Okay.
And then there's a few scenes at the start and the end that are properly mic'd up. And that makes it really hard to understand as well, because then the mumbling is muffled, and then it's just hard to hear. So there might have been a bit of both, but who knows? Yeah.
Pick a better chant, I'm saying to the protesters. We want justice is
one
fine.
we can understand.
Like, you've got all these placards anyway, so you could just have a bunch of them saying, "Give us Sebastian" on the placards. They're called placards, aren't they?
I think so.
Okay.
I believe so.
Sure. But yeah, "we want justice" sounds fine, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, funny Ezekiel yelling it. It's like...
completely out of time with everyone else.
I did like that. Just kind of zooming along.
Sure.
Magna and Yumiko, thanks for those names, Liam. He helped me out earlier. They having a chat on a park bench. You've got a sick camera shot just going from right to left, slowly around as they're talking. And I went, great. Like, there's a thumbs up. I'm captivated. And then, of course, in true fashion, then they went back the other way on a different angle, and then cut to a different... So cut to a shot of Yumiko, and they're going back the other way, and then cut to a shot of Magna, and then back that way. So it's just we're swaying left to right to left to right, and not in any artistic sense. It was just like, oh, we got to keep the shot moving to be interesting. And it was like, you've got your interesting shot right at the start from right to left. Then you could have had some nice fixed shots to like contrast between. It's go back and look at it.
Okay, it didn't jump out to me, but I'll pay attention next time I watch it.
It's like the thing you do in early filmmaking, where every shot has to be moving and interesting to be fluid, and it's, I don't know.
Coming back to a point you made there, just about like we were watching the episode and you went, who are these? What are these characters' names again? I feel like it just looked like most of my, that you can't even really call them nitpicks, I guess, but big picture issues that I have at the moment are those big picture things, and that's a very obvious one, which is that there's so many characters to try and follow. There's so much going on that it's just so hard to keep a track of everything, and let alone care. Like, first you've got to actually understand what's happening, which is already a struggle with the way it's being presented, and then that just makes me not care at all, because I don't even know what's going on half the time.
Well, before I say this, I'll ask you actually, Liam, because there wasn't any previously on the Walking Dead thing, which Liam does so well. Did you know, first of all, what Sebastian was in trouble for?
Nah, not a clue.
Why he was missing, I
don't even know who Sebastian was, though.
Okay.
We want Sebastian. Like... Isn't that like the little crab from The Little Mermaid?
It is, yeah.
Under the sea.
The name thing is just down to the fact that we haven't watched it in 6 months or something.
Being a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but
still, that's surely something we would remember, at least like the fact that he's hiding or why he's hiding, if it's such a major plot point.
Well, you remember my question at the start. I leant over and asked Ben, like, why are they like trying to kill Hornsby now? Like, I didn't even remember that, besides like, he was killing people on the rooftop. But then I was like, yeah, but so what happened in between? How do you even get the scar on his cheek? Like, all of these things, like a quick recap after 6 months away from the show.
Well, to be fair, AMC Plus does the recaps, and guess who doesn't? Foxtel. So it's Foxtel's
step
fault.
your game up, Foxtel.
True, because the second episode did have that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So we'll blame it on them.
Really?
Yeah.
Trashing Foxtel. All right.
Definitely.
There's a musical cue every time we see Bald Thug random number 5 or whatever. Every single time he appears in the crowd.
I didn't pick up on that.
Dude, the first time I was like, wow, cool cue. It's like a
Yeah, actually, the first time I noticed it, and it reminds me of in Spider-Man, what's the animated one, Spider-Verse.
Yes, exactly
his
that.
uncle's that little sound that makes when his
It's like
uncle appears,
a French horn, like a bugle or something like that.
yeah.
Or whatever. It was terrible. But yeah, so they did it once. I went, oh, cool. They did it twice. I'm like, okay, so that's kind of his theme every time he pops up. And then like 3 and 4 more times in the one episode. It's too much.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I expect better of Bear. That's why I'm critical.
Yeah,
/ Sam.
yeah, that's it. And if that applies to the whole show, really, but it's fun to have a laugh at continuity and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's because we want it to be better. And I'll say it now, like watching the last episode before this one, episode 16. Remember that bit where the shot was spliced in half, really obviously?
Yeah.
That, like, watching it now, the fact that they haven't even gone back and fixed it, like that. The end of Daryl's nose is literally
It's
cut off.
transparent.
It's right front and center. It's a close up of his face, and the end of his nose fades off at the end. Like, that for me is an unforgivable sin. Like, it's literally, you can't miss it. And that's the sort of thing. I highly doubt visual effects even got their hands on it. It seems like something the editor probably did. And
Right.
I can only give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they were in such a rush to get the episode out, and they just had to do an export. They couldn't check it, and they just had to send it to the network. Because that's literally, you just watch it and then you go, whoops, that's a mistake. I've got to fix that.
Yeah.
It's like so obvious.
Question.
I don't know.
Once an episode has been released, can they then go back and fix it? You said like they haven't fixed
definitely.
it.
Think of the what is it, the phone in the pocket or whatever of Daryl or someone, or
Yeah, there's a bigger story to that one actually, but there were a few other examples. I think Aaron McLean talks about where they have gone back and potentially fixed a few things. I know Stranger Things and stuff like that has done it heaps.
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Coffee
right.
Cup
Game
is
of
the
Thrones,
famous one. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is possible, at least, especially for streaming. Like, it's easy to upload a new file for the episode or something like that.
So this is not like a nitpick or anything. It's like I got 2 writing things, and then I got one more funny thing at the end, but that's pretty much it for this.
Okay, cool.
Dude comes out. So they're at this silent vigil with candles, everyone outside for like their families that are lost or the children and all of that. They're very quiet, but they're breaking the curfew or whatever. So out come all these soldiers and a dude with a megaphone being like, everybody get, and the walkers are coming and they're like, we need to, for our safety, and you're blaring a megaphone.
And then he turns around and goes, everyone be quiet for a moment.
And then and then smoke grenades everyone, starts everyone screaming and there's a panic and everything. Yep.
After they were just standing there silently.
Job well done.
Yeah. Also, that, I don't know, I could have missed something, and I hope I have. That scene was at night time, and they hear the walkers outside the walls.
Yeah.
And then the next scene, it's daytime, and they're fighting the walkers out in a field, and then that's it.
Yep.
And then it cuts back to another shot that's supposed to be like a few minutes later, I think, and it's in the middle of the day.
Well, because they are at that vigil, and then everything goes quiet, and you hear like like they're like descending upon them or something, but nothing. Okay.
Yeah, interesting.
And then in the field, you've got this Jeep that tips over. Like one line of dialogue being like, "Hey, watch your turns" or something like
watch
this.
the potholes.
Yeah, anything to go. Oh, whoops! You know how fast you'd have to turn.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
That in universe, at least, you could say, oh, the Commonwealth soldiers are so clumsy they tipped over a Jeep in the middle of a flat field.
But even then, they're standing there.
Yeah.
And standing right next to the walkers when
Yeah.
they've got like a whole field
Yeah.
to retreat to.
absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, so my note for that is maybe the most ridiculous thing we have ever seen in this show. You got Mercer,
Really?
who is holding on to this guy, like,
Oh,
hey, come
yeah.
here. You know, he could have easily jumped off and stabbed a couple and then tried to save or whatever. So, okay, so he goes, give me a hand. He grabs, and he's holding onto the guy so tightly that he rips in half. So his arms don't dislocate and his arms don't come off. His spine
torso.
and his entire torso gets ripped in half. All right, now if you're the writers and you're saying, all right, guys, we need to make this really sensational, guy gets ripped in half, okay? How are we going to make it happen? What you do is you have the guy get half pulled onto the Jeep, right? He goes, yeah, hold on. He gets his arms or whatever tangled in the ropes, the gear, the engine somehow. Like he gets, you know, not being held on by a person, but he's actually stuck on the car. And then they go to take off with him like half on, and then he gets ripped in half. That's horrific. That's like terrifying.
And even just the physics of it. Like, I know Mercer's strong, but like, you know how hard you'd have to be pulling back to actually rip someone in half?
Yeah.
Like, he's literally just sitting there. Like, he should be either his feet against the door, like pulling him. The guy maybe is saying like, don't let go of me. And that's why he doesn't let go. I don't know, something.
Because the first couple of like claws into him and he's screaming, and then like these gaping holes start and he's screaming. It's just like put a cap in him and drive away. Like,
Or just let go at the very least.
yeah, it's a kindness at that point. Like, yeah.
Apparently these zombies have got like death grip though, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that so the episode 19 is called Variant, and we've seen it at the end of the trailer for these new episodes, is that there's potentially a new variant of walkers. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like with the whisperers when they were first introduced, and you heard the whispering in the this is almost funny now, just how ridiculous the show's getting. But you heard the whispers in the crowd. Oh no!
Come on, man.
Like that was so out of place, because it's like that's really weird for the show, like to have something like that. It's like, oh, okay, there's got to be something that they're setting up. But now it's like so ridiculous that you just think it's like a crew member whispering at that left. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
And then,
so I guess the point I'm getting at is that the subtle hints, like you think it's a mistake now. So yeah, I'm finding this way too funny now. Yeah.
then you got the Weekend at Bernie's walker and the underground tubes. I really thought that they had put puppet strings on the walker and it was just caught in the...
I got no strings to hold me.
Exactly. Jim Carrey gets a knife to the throat and his eyes go the widest I've ever seen them go.
Yeah.
Very-
Actually, speaking of positives, there was his facial expression when he got grabbed by Daryl.
Yeah.
And Sebastian's little scream after he got slapped.
Beautiful.
Those were both very good.
Yeah.
And that's it for episode 1 for me.
Yeah. Episode 17,
We got
which I've been referring to as episode 1.
Ah.
All right, on to 18, which we've already given our overall thoughts earlier. I think we all enjoyed it a fair bit more. Would you agree, Isaac?
You brought up the actual quality of the way it was captured or streamed.
Yeah, I reckon that, again, digging at Foxtel, I reckon Foxtel really compresses it. And I think maybe it's to do with the new Lord of the Rings series, because I've noticed recently Prime Video have really, like, the quality when you press play, it looks like 4K amazing straight away, similar to how Disney Plus has been, and Netflix. So maybe Prime Video have improved their servers or how they compress video or something like that. That's my guess. But I don't think it's to do with the show, how it's captured necessarily. It's just how it's streamed and compressed, something along those lines.
No, but absolutely. There was a lot more to enjoy. There's something really juicy toward the end, which we've been waiting for some time. Sebastian's Demise. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. I can't remember how he said it was going to happen, but early on when he's on that picnic with that girl and he's saying, you know, he's just being a little jerk, you know. We're like, oh, I can't wait. You know, how is it going to be? Is it going to be satisfying or whatever?
And this has just reminded me as well that I guess nothing's come of it, but in the comics, spoiler alert for the comics if you don't want to know, I think he kills Rick. Like, he shoots him.
Oh, dang.
So,
The worst. He
Yeah.
would be the worst. If,
so, yeah, I guess they didn't go with him doing something that significant, which I'm happy about.
oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. That's all right. But yeah, were you happy with the death? Was it satisfying?
Oh, can I leave that right till the end?
Yeah.
If that's
Cool.
just
All right,
like
we'll
it.
come back to it.
Yeah, classic Daryl is my note for the beginning. He stabs Hornsby
I
right
love
through the
that.
hand.
Dropped an F-bomb too beforehand.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which seemed like one of those ones that's very easy to edit out for the TV
Yeah.
version, and then, but yeah, that was cool. Overall, for this episode, before we get into specifics, I can't pinpoint too much, but all I can say is that it felt a lot more like Walking Dead, a lot more like the actual show.
You won't say that later on.
Okay, no, oh yeah, with a very obvious exception, but overall, like the music, just something about it felt a lot more like the show, and maybe it's because it feels like they're moving on maybe a bit from the Commonwealth arc. Yeah, but yeah, just something about the way it focused on the characters and all that was a bit better. All right, we'll come back to the obvious scene in a minute. But have you got any other notes?
So, this has actually got quite a few good ones, actually.
Yeah, great.
So I need to check and see if this episode has a different cinematographer or director of photography.
So 17 was Scott Keevan, who Scott Keevan, and this one was Dwayne Charles Manwala, who's been the main cinematographer for the last few seasons.
Okay, so all right. This is my note. Big fan of shots that lead into character conversation. So there is a good couple of shots where someone's just packing up something, close up of someone packing up something in a bag. They pick up the bag to reveal two characters further down, and then those characters start having their conversation. I think it's a great way to build up a good atmosphere of like a busyness. You know, they do this in like marketplaces all the time. Someone's cooking up something as the two characters are talking and walking by, and then we follow them. They do it in Star Wars all the time, and it's just it's a way of really making your universe lived in and busy, and I like that. So big plus on this episode. There was a lot of that.
Yeah, I would almost say that's more of a director thing. Obviously, I could be wrong, and it's always a collaboration anyway. But yeah, Jeffrey F. January, I think, directed the
Cool
second
name.
episode, which is a very cool name.
My name is Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did have. Oh yeah, that's right. Just back to 17 for a minute. Is the ice cream shot? Because you were just talking about like focusing on other random things just to build the world. There's a whole march rally going on, and then there's a close up of two people getting ice cream, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was very funny at least.
Guy looked pretty unhappy.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
They got the shot and they decided to use it.
Yeah, it's a good shot.
I'm extremely glad, or I will be, to see Ezekiel walk off into the sunset like this. So he's talking about how his place is here. He enjoys being a zookeeper. Great. If we never have to see Ezekiel die, if it's just like, adios, my friends, I'm going to be here looking after zoo animals in the Commonwealth or whatever, and we never see him again after that, I'll go, great.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with that if that's the case.
And with the amount of characters they have to balance at this point, I mean, you could name probably 20 characters who weren't in these episodes, and like, yeah, they can't afford not to come back to Ezekiel for at least a few episodes. So, yeah, you might get your wish.
I wrote that early on as he was saying it. After the debacle of this episode, who knows? But yeah, no, because there was the whole cancer threat with him as well, and you were like, oh man, this is all going to go down. He was a bit suicidal at one point as well, so no, this is, I think, very well.
Yeah.
If it turns out, watch it not happen.
Something in the ice cream.
Yeah, it'd be funny to find out. He calls his new goat Shiva or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Onward. Another scar that they're going to have to, the makeup team has to keep on doing if they're going to keep Hornsby, like yet another character that's...
You mean his hand?
his cheek. He's got a big gash in his cheek.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember how he got it. I'm sure it was
Neither
something
do I.
that was like a big moment, but I can't remember.
It was the coin.
Yeah, yeah. Happened off camera. He flipped the coin too hard.
I have a funny note here on they didn't win the lottery. Those cleanup crew talking about, when I win the lottery, and then you straight away get shot. It's like the opposite of winning the lottery.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, bouncing around a little bit, but at the end when they were attacking everyone in the town, and there were all those shots of like Judith looking at them, and then they would be eating someone or whatever. I really thought, knowing that there's potentially a new strain of walkers coming, I really thought that was going to be the scene where we see one of them do something weird and go, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because it had like close-ups of Judith looking, and she was like watching it closely, and then it like lingered way too long on the walker, but then they were just normal. So
I was curious about that. I wasn't thinking that at all, but I was thinking, like, did she know who that was or something?
yeah,
'Cause, it definitely lingered for quite a while.
I'm glad you at least noticed that something
Yeah.
was a bit strange about it.
Yeah, it was weird.
So maybe it is something intentional that they're setting up, but again, I feel like it's the subtlety is almost lost at this point because of some strange creative decisions.
That's putting it lightly.
Yeah.
It's almost as if they don't care anymore. Like, that'll be fine. Just chuck that in.
Yeah. Well, all right. So let's talk about the obvious thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an example of a meme, this is a popular meme format or a popular joke. So let's just say in the trailer, I loved in the trailer how they teased that there's going to be a new variant of walkers and they can climb over walls and open doors. I thought it was a bit weird though when they started playing mariachi music and tap dancing.
yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
You say that because that would be so out of place in this show. And so I'm going to say I enjoyed episode 18. It was a bit weird when out of nowhere there was a wrestling match with rock music playing and it lasted like a minute and a half. And then literally nothing came of it.
Directed by Ryan Johnson.
Too soon.
Yeah.
I like
No
put
further
that
comment.
put that to bad reputation, like, and you've got like a Shrek side by side
Yeah.
comparison, and it's so funny because at the end when the guy wins, he's even doing the thing, it's like exactly
I didn't
the
put two
same.
and two together, but yeah.
That further backs up they just don't care anymore. It's like, guys, hear me out. Shrek's wrestling scene. We add that into the Commonwealth. Someone else is there who's had a few drinks. Is like, you're right. Let's do it. What
And
could go
the
wrong?
announcer even starts it off
Are
with
you ready?
no, but he starts it off with people of, and I was like, add Duloc, and then you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is almost kingdom-like. So.
it is. Yeah, Ezekiel's happy.
No wonder he wants to stay.
Yeah, but like as far as entertainment goes, I could understand like, I don't know, a jiu-jitsu tournament or something like that, or like I don't know. Wrestling is fun to watch, but like in Walking Dead, I don't know.
Yeah, it felt way too out of.
And like
universe.
for whatever argument you can make in the world, they needed entertainment. Yeah, sure, whatever. But why did we need to watch that for a minute with rock music playing?
Actually, as well. So people might get a little mad at this.
Yeah.
So wrestling is fake, obviously.
What?
And it requires pretty like strong athletic dudes who know what, or chicks, depending on the whatever. So you're telling me that in the Commonwealth you had a couple of dudes who were like, yeah, we're ex-wrestlers, let's put on a show for you,
Yeah, and they weren't in the army.
Yeah.
Just odd. It's just like an odd, like of all the people you've got.
Yeah, and like, do you really want to risk a broken back, like for
Oh, the
one
floor
of
is sprung. No
strongest
one's-
people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
It's fake anyway. So
Then cue the recording of Sebastian admitting all those things.
I was surprised by that, actually.
why?
I was expecting... I was not expecting that to actually get released. I thought that the walkers would rock up and everything would go pear-shaped before people would hear it. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, people do actually hear it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. So he loses his mind. You see, like, I don't know what that is, like the blood rage or whatever, when you just lock onto someone and you're just like, right, chasing the real Stephanie. Yeah, through the crowd.
That's what he would say.
Yeah. Oh, man. And then, like, even as he's grabbing her and he sees the walker, like this look of, yes, I know what I'll do. And he just pushes her into the walker, starts rubbing his hands together furiously. Like,
Was it Eugene that pushed the walker off of Stephanie? Or was it some random?
I think it was Eugene.
I didn't quite see that.
the slowest run ever.
It's like strolling up to her as she's about to get eaten.
So good.
Yeah.
And yeah, wasn't Sebastian doing like high intensity survival training or whatever it was called by?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He had some special name for it, like elite training of walkers or whatever. Yeah.
He literally like got it off of him at one point and then sat up and was like, "Someone help me!" And I'm thinking, dude, just literally
Scramble.
roll to your right.
Yeah, roll.
Hunker even, like just command and
Imagine
crawl
you're on
away.
fire. Stop, drop, and roll, baby.
Yeah.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah, I suppose it's just like the vanity of him thinking like, oh, everyone's going to help me because I'm important,
Yeah, that's fair.
But they all stopped their panicking straight away just to watch him die. And there's something about that which was a little bit satisfying.
Yeah.
But also
to be
sad.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah.
To be fair, there are also a lot of other Commonwealth people who didn't seem to be doing a lot. Like one dude was lying on the floor, and then a walker like just jumped on top of him and started munching away.
Yeah.
What are you doing on the floor, you scrub?
Yeah.
Tripped, maybe? I don't know.
Actually,
Heart attack.
I'll give 10 seconds to this because I don't want to get too carried away with nitpicking. But the smoke grenade scene, everyone was just like standing there going, before they ran off. That was very random.
I wonder if it's disorientating to have like...
Maybe.
I'm sure it's got to burn your lungs, and if there's any like tear gas thing in there, you probably can't see so well.
Yeah.
But if it's supposed to disperse crowds, it doesn't do a very good job. Oh, actually, I've got written down here.
Okay.
There's a classic anime shot of like when the protagonist or the antagonist is about to like lose their mind and go crazy. There's like an under the chin shot.
Oh, of Sebastian.
Yeah,
Running through the crowd.
as he's running, his head's just bobbling along.
Yeah.
Way to make him look unhinged and deranged. And
Yeah, it worked for that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I would probably say like as far as like again keeping to what the show does,
Yeah.
a bit weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've seen it before.
And
No.
I guess the big part of it as well, this comes down to probably more directing than cinematography, but like it's all right to change perspectives quite often within a scene of what character you're focusing on, but it's good. It's ideal if you can to pick like a character whose perspective we're seeing things from. And we were kind of seeing things from Max's perspective as she's running away. And then we just have that random close-up of Sebastian, and we're seeing it's literally locked onto his face, and we're seeing everything from his point of view. So it's just that kind of pulls you out of the scene because then you're not necessarily paying attention to. Yeah, you go, Liam.
Sort of semi-related, but I have to say this now because I feel like you guys will be so proud that I picked up on this.
Oh.
The pacing of that. I've probably dug my own grave now because I'm not
Keep
using the right
talking.
terminology. So you've got that crazy scene where the camera is like looking up and he's like pushing through all of these people, and then you've got a shot where they're relatively close by and there's only maybe one or two people in between. It constantly seemed to chop and change from. I think they only did that weird shot once.
Sure.
But there was multiple shots that I noticed where there really wasn't a lot of distance between. Is it Max?
Max, yeah.
Between Max and Sebastian.
Oh, it's not even Stephanie. Oh,
Yeah,
true.
yeah, I didn't even-
True.
Until you said Max, I'm like, who's Max?
Yeah.
But yeah, there doesn't seem to be a lot of distance, but there always seems to be a lot of people when the camera's focusing in on Sebastian.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't catch up to her, even though he was literally within arm's reach and grabbing her at one point. But yeah, the pacing of that just felt really, really forced.
I'm going to grab any positive when I can. That at least reminds me of a scene from the first episode when Jerry's taking the kids through the crowd, and then he like taps that guy on the shoulder and says, "Hey, we need like, a distraction or something." And I thought that was cool how
Neat.
just sort of block the guy's way.
yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Final from me.
Yeah, sure. Just actually one thing while we're on that, this is with I would say the episode overall. What's that?
Just 5 minutes.
5
I
minutes.
guess.
Okay, easy. Is that I watched Titanic yesterday, and that is a great example of how to show chaos. Yeah, fair enough. A large scale thing going down, but you can focus on different characters, but you feel the sense of how it all flows together, and you still feel like you're following one story. And the whole thing with the Commonwealth, like all these people mourning and with the candles and stuff, I didn't care about any of them. And just because you show a close up of a random extra doesn't mean that you're communicating anything. Whereas I feel like Titanic is a good example of how to have extras and show all different people and make you care about them in like 5 seconds. But yeah, that the large scale of things is kind of lost, which is probably a big picture thing here.
Yeah. Sorry, you brought it up, so I
yeah.
Titanic has one of my absolute favorite like setup things of all time, where
Oh,
her and Jack are like spitting on the balcony, and then later on when she's being held, she just spits in the guy's face. It's like, that's a great way to get away. Yeah. And he's so shocked by it, like, what the heck?
Just so surprising.
Yeah. Cool.
Go on to your next note, sorry.
So the candy apple that gets given to Hornsby, which I think we said you haven't had one.
No, never.
I have, yeah.
I haven't. Is it good?
They were awesome. The best thing since sliced bread when I was a kid.
Really?
But then I tried one. I would have been a teenager, I think. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of average.
What's the coating on it?
Toffee. It's just like toffee.
Is it satisfying once you get past the outer layer, or like?
No, for me, I found it the opposite.
just
Like
chuck
the
it out?
candy is really nice. The apple was really nice, but the apple was also a little bit sort of. Well, the ones I had were a little bit mushy because they've been dipped and stuff, obviously.
Okay.
So yeah, a little bit mediocre.
Well,
Okay.
I
Gotta
thought
try it though.
Thanks for your review of candy apples.
Yeah.
Now we know.
we'll get some and we'll
Yeah.
not eat them on the show. Like,
Oh yeah.
Well, no, not if they're soft and squishy.
Yeah.
No, the outside's not though.
Oh, okay. The
Outside's
outside.
crunchy.
You're right.
okay. Yeah. So Hornsby gets given one. He's all, cool, thanks, I guess, whatever. He suggests like you got to burn this whole thing down. And then when he's sitting in his cell, hearing the whole thing get burnt down, he goes, oh yeah, walks over and takes a bite out of his candy apple. So it's like he's relaxed enough knowing that this is all going down. So it's kind of like he's accepting the plan. Yeah. So nice little poetry.
Yeah. I like it.
Cool. That's...
Yeah, all I can say from now on is that I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what this new variant of Walkers is potentially. And we're getting towards the end of the show. I feel like this is I'm definitely interested to go in a crazy direction like that potentially. And especially because I just don't care about this Commonwealth arc. I'll take anything else you've got. And if you want to go in a strange direction like that, now's the time to do it. So I'm optimistic, cautiously optimistic, and I'm definitely going to enjoy the rest of the series, whichever way they go with it. So, yeah. Any other thoughts on these two or just the future in general?
You summed it up for me.
Okay,
Like I
cool.
said, each and every one, I'll be here with you guys, and I'll be looking forward to it. As always, it's through the lens of we like the show, we appreciate what the showrunners are doing, and it's not the show sucks, everyone should be fired, blah blah blah. It's none of that. It's just maybe you could have thought of this or whatever. But otherwise,
definitely.
it's a fun show. Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
gross. Yeah.
Anything from you, Lim? Or
No, summed it up perfectly.
easy as? Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. We definitely appreciate your time and we appreciate your thoughts as well. If you'd like to send us a message on Instagram, Just Keep Walking Podcast on Instagram is probably the best way. Otherwise, we've got turnsounds.com, turnsounds@gmail.com. They're all good ways to get in touch with us and we're keen to hear your thoughts. So, until next week, I've been Ben
I'm still Isaac.
Always, Liam.
and just keep walking.
Please.